okay? I'm not going to specifically go through the exact attention deficit criteria, but very quickly, it's really obvious. Do we have struggle with attention to detail? Do we have struggle sustaining attention for tasks? Of course. Okay. Kids, do they not listen when spoken to? These are all things that we are seeing in children. And as you hear me talk about healing the inner child, believe it or not, a lot of what I'm telling you, I've realized over the years, I didn't even know for a while, I could say is based in French parenting. That's a strange thing for me to say, right? I'm talking about attention. Okay. What I have pulled from you are two things. One that has nothing to do with ADHD or ADD, and another on French parenting. A lot of times what I am coaching and have over the years, I didn't call myself a nanny, but I was basically a nanny all of my youth, into my mid-20s. I was I just had people's babies kind of all over me, cousins, neighborhood kids, friends, little siblings. I changed diapers everywhere that I went. I mean, I am like a baby magnet. Babies like me. I like babies. And when I was young, especially when I was wounded, babies are less risky than other people. So I really had an affinity. Okay. And the children that are the most centered, the calmest, truly come from a parenting style that mimics, whether it knows it or not, a lot of French parenting. And one of the issues that I have with ADD, ADHD, and the medicalization of it in America is that we have countries, France is the main one, that does not look at those symptoms of inattention, of inability to contain oneself as a neurologic needing medication disorder. So I want to read to you, they use a different system to classify emotional problems in childhood. And instead of using our American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the French use an alternative classification that's not the DSM that we use here. And basically translated, they use something they call the Classification of French Mental Troubles in Infants and Adolescents. Okay. And we have a big section of the DSM there are the disorders, the mental disorders and behavioral disorders that affect childhood and adolescence. Okay. So it was actually created to offer French child psychiatrists an alternative to the DSM-3. Now, I was trained on the DSM-4. Now we have the DSM-5. There will undoubtedly be a DSM-6 and so forth. But the French define ADHD, I want to read this right, as a sociological disorder that's caused by a set of social situations. Whereas the US sees ADHD as a neurological disorder whose symptoms are the result of biological dysfunction or a chemical imbalance in the brain, France's definition of ADHD drastically differs from that of the US, which is in part because the pharmaceutical industry helped define ADHD in the US. Do you hear that? If that's not a conflict of interest, to be able to fit as many people into a disordered category as could possibly buy drugs, I don't know what is. France's treatment methods are greatly different from ours because of that difference. Isn't that concerning?